What's up, hockey fans, and welcome back to the Good Goal Podcast, episode 33. My name is Christian Brady. That's Matt T.R. He has to put the hat on because he knows it doesn't match, and that makes me angry. Matt, what's going on? Nice time.
What's up? I was at transfer council earlier, and I had to dress nice. So I'm going to start this podcast by saying, admire my full, a.k.a. double Windsor, because it's the greatest tie knot I've ever done. And of course, it has to be a joke, like for the podcast, not for an interview or for something important. So the next time I go to tie this knot, it's going to be the worst thing ever, and it'll be a really important event. So,
and the little part's going to be sticking like 3 inches past the big part.
Yep. So
double Windsor is the best knot, though. That's a fact.
Yeah. So single Windsor is like prom, homecoming. It's Friday, and I don't care about how my tie looks. I work a 9-to-5 job, and I hate it. That's single Windsor. Double Windsor's double Windsor's like funeral, interviews, weddings, things of that nature. So
I don't know where you're getting this list, but I concur, I guess. If you tie a single Windsor knot, then you're on the hot seat tonight on this podcast.
Yeah, well, you hate your job. So that's essentially what that
honestly
means.
You hate yourself, and you have no respect for the way you look. So you should probably figure it out.
Yeah.
I know my family is a double Windsor family. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I was single Windsor because I guess I hated my life until my dad showed me how to tie a double Windsor. So
and then you started respecting yourself.
Yeah, shout out Mark
started doing that
for the double Windsor.
Yeah, I learned that's the first thing I learned was from my dad. I honestly, if you asked me to tie another one, I probably wouldn't know how. All I know is the double Windsor.
Valid. Let's start off this podcast by congratulating Happy Gilmore and Shooter Mcdavid on 25 years. 25 years ago, Shooter Mcdavid blew a 5-stroke lead to lose the gold jacket to Happy Gilmore. And then Adam Sandler posted a video of him doing his little Happy Gilmore swing. Naturally, he was at a really expensive golf course.
Wearing shorts down to his ankles and a T-shirt. and Jordans.
Yeah.
Like high top
but
Jordans.
They're like, Adam Sandler, you're worth $600 million or whatever he's worth. You can wear whatever.
Yeah,
he probably owned the golf course, honestly.
It's Adam Sandler. Even if it had strict rules for like richer people than Adam Sandler, like that's just the Adam Sandler uniform. When you admit Adam Sandler to your golf club, you know what to expect, and it's exactly what he's wearing in that video.
Well, you're admitting Happy Gilmore, so
exactly.
1996 tour champion.
Yeah. Yes.
So, and then Shooter Mcdavid, Christopher McDonald, shoots back with a video. He said he's putting in his living room and what it looks like a 50-cent glass cup from Walmart. And he's like, drive for show, putt for the dough. And he banks in like a 2-foot putt. And he does the shooter like 20 times in the video. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is. He's the Daniel Day-Lewis of method acting after you're done with your role instead of before it. Because Daniel Day-Lewis, like, he played a carpenter once, and so he just was a carpenter for like 6 months before he's done things where he lives without electricity to get into a role. Shooter Mcdavid played Shooter Mcdavid and then became him and was him for the rest of his life until the day he dies. He might as well not have another name.
Yeah.
He's just Shooter Mcdavid.
He's the greatest sports villain of all time. Well, maybe the Mighty Ducks 2 coach from Finland.
Iceland.
Yeah. He's kind of
pretty good. But he's a tough dude.
Yeah. So he also slashes Bombay when they're doing
what was that?
3 bar. Yeah. Come on.
Dude. He's got a bad ankle, man. Come on.
So also Happy Gilmore, it inspired us to say what we always say when we go to something important, which is
I'm a hockey player, but I'm playing golf today.
Yep. So even when we're not playing golf.
That's the best quote in cinema, I'll say. Probably ever.
I don't know. Miracle probably has the
Mm,
and that's why'd you want to play college hockey? And he goes, isn't it obvious for the girls?
for the girls.
Yeah.
I'm serious, Coxie.
All right. We're gonna do
Matt, one thing I saw on Instagram was who has the better sports roles, and it's Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell. I think it's got to be Adam Sandler, but Will Ferrell does not deserve enough credit. I mean, does not get the credit he deserves for. Let's see the 4 movies they put on there: Semi Pro, Kicking and Screaming, Blades of Glory, Talladega Nights, and that's unbelievable. But then, of course, Adam Sandler has Happy Gilmore,
Waterboy,
Longest Yard, Waterboy,
Longest Yard. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the 4th one is. I know they had 4 up there.
Grown Ups. He plays basketball. I guess that might count.
I don't think that was it, but yeah. I think Adam Sandler wins, but it's close. Blades of Glory is one of my all-time funniest movies. So,
all right.
God, that movie's so ridiculous. Okay. Blades of Glory, let's try to segue from here. Blades of Glory happens on ice. And where's there a lot of ice right now? Texas.
That is such a horrible segue. But
winter weather in Texas has canceled 3 Stars games, including tonight's game. If you've seen the pictures of Texas, they're actually fascinating. It literally looks like the apocalypse.
Dude, it's insane.
Yeah. And they've lost power. I saw a video which kind of made me laugh, which is not that funny. It was so cold in someone's house that the fish tank actually froze. And the fish inside had died, and they were just like making fun of them on the TikTok. It shouldn't be that funny, but it is.
What's crazy is they were reporting that February was gonna be like the hottest month, hottest February ever, and it's everywhere is freezing over. So
and they're getting more snow there too. The whole country is really. I think we'll probably catch some here as well next week. So we'll see what happens there, but just. I mean, Dallas can't play in these conditions.
Yeah, I think Dallas somehow rigged this weather so they wouldn't have to play Tampa.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it was.
Yeah, you're probably right, man.
It's also weird that like it's not that much snow in Texas, like relatively to you living in Boston and me from DC, but they're just not equipped for snow ever. So they're just losing power. Like I saw 800,000 people without power. Like that's unreal.
Yeah, which is wild. I know. So, it's like the whole state basically has lost power. And Oklahoma apparently is doing fine. It's just Texas. Huh? It must have to do with the power. It's weird though.
So thoughts and prayers to Texas. Obviously we're joking. We're making jokes here, but seriously.
It's a serious issue for sure, but I mean, it is weird because they got like 3 inches of snow and then it all froze over and hell broke loose in Texas. TSN's Darren Drager speculates that Crosby could be shopped this offseason by the new front office in Pittsburgh. But Mario Lemieux, who is a co-owner of the team, has said in the past that he wants Crosby and Malkin to retire as Penguins. What I have to say about that is, obviously, things can change, and also they just hired a new group, and they had to have known what the main objective of that group is, of the front office was, when they came in. So if they were thinking about shopping Crosby, they wouldn't have been hired. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking there's a change of heart by Lemieux, if this is at all possible. And I don't think Drager even heard a rumor about this. He just kind of made it up based on how things might be going. But what do you think about this?
It's kind of like, and of course I can apply anything to life to The Office, but it's kind of like when they're interviewing for the new GM and that Will Arnett's character is like, I got a plan. He's like, all right, tell us your plan. Well, I can't tell you my plan until you hire me. He's like,
I'll give you one part of the plan. And he goes, I'll give you part 2 of like Appendix
He's like
A.
Section B of Part 2.
Color code said documents.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like that. That reminds me of you were like, obviously, if they had a plan to ship off Crosby, they wouldn't have been hired. But maybe it was like deep in that plan, and they were like, hire us, or we won't tell you our plan.
I have to imagine like at least the philosophy of Burke and Hextall, which are the two guys that were hired, was absolutely discussed, and if they were thinking about doing this, they would have come in and said, look, we've been treading water since we won the cup in 16 with these unbelievable players. So we're either going to build around them or we're going to strip it down and start over. So they're choosing one of them. And if Drager seems to think that they're choosing the former, right? It was the first one I said. Either way. If Drager seems to think they're thinking that they want to tear the team down, then Crosby and Malkin are the first two guys to go.
That's unreal to me because
they're both getting up there.
Yeah, but we've seen it this year. Crosby's still Crosby. Like, I don't know. It's weird to me that you would ship off a guy who has essentially built your franchise from the ground up when you drafted him.
Yeah.
I mean, they were in shambles.
05?
Yeah.
And then by 09, he was the captain at 22 years old or something. Youngest captain in NHL history, and they won the cup.
So, yeah. And then they won two more not even 4 years ago. So, if you strip the team, I feel like you still have to keep these two. Like, that's my thought process. But Crosby,
how quickly are they going to rebuild, though? Crosby is, I think, 32 now, and Malkin's a little older than he. So, how are they, can they rebuild in the next 3 years? Because that's really what it's going to take.
So Crosby's 33, but he still plays like he's 20.
Yeah, he's at a high level, and he is a fitness geek. He's like the number one fitness guy in the league, so he'll play deep into
let me tell you something. Crosby in Seattle. Tell me that doesn't get everyone excited about the Seattle team.
Here's what I want to know, Matt. No, they can't, because I was going to say, could Seattle, sign guys right now?
No.
I don't think so. Probably starting this summer.
There's like a deadline they have to wait.
Yeah.
Obviously with the expansion draft, so they can't but I'm assuming some front office people can be like, hey, Crosby, look over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this could be all speculation. This could be rumors that were started out of nothing. But if there's validity to the fact that they want to move Crosby in the offseason, this is the expansion offseason. You think Seattle wouldn't pay Crosby's $15 million? I mean, they essentially have blank checks to write. They wouldn't pay $15 million a year to have Crosby put a C on his chest and lead that team to the playoffs. I mean,
of course,
that would do billions of dollars in revenue for that city.
So that's the question then. Do they start trading? I mean, do they build their expansion draft on building a package for the Penguins for Crosby? Like when they're thinking is this even possible? But I'm thinking they call Hextall and they say, name the guys that are eligible from the expansion draft that you want, and we will draft them and immediately trade them for Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, but
is that allowed? Probably, yeah.
Let me look up Crosby's contract. Because if he's a UFA, he can walk.
So then he's not a UFA. So then you have a situation, Matt, where Seattle is basically making a trade before they have any players signed.
Okay, so Crosby's still got 5 years left on his deal. Mm-hmm. But remember, you can only protect 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and a goalie in the expansion draft. You have to think Gensel's protected.
You saying they're not going to protect Crosby?
I mean, if they're thinking about shipping him,
Then you get nothing for him.
you don't have to pay his $12.5 million
No.
cap.
Get out of here, dude. You just
Look, I'm talking
here.
about all possibilities here. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, good. This is like when you're looking at a multiple choice question and you're eliminating one answer. That's what you just did.
Yeah. I'm not saying they're not.
They can't
not going to protect it. I'm just saying it is expansion draft, and also the game of trading people left and right is a game of politics. So the Seattle GM could say, "Look, don't protect Crosby, and we'll send you 8 first-round picks, whatever."
That is what Vegas did. Vegas acquired, I think they broke the record for the amount of picks in the first 2 rounds on the next season. So this past 2020 draft, because during the expansion draft, they were like, we'll let you protect 3 more players if you give us a first round pick. It was like such a genius move by George McPhee, which I would not have thought was legal before he did it. But they kept saying, say like if the Bruins did it, they would say, okay, in this round of the expansion draft, from the Boston Bruins, the Vegas Golden Knights acquire a second round pick and select Colin Miller. And you're like, wait a minute, huh? And then you go back and read about it, and it turns out they would have picked, say, Brandon Carlo, but they were like, no, we want to keep him. We'll give you a second round pick to not take him.
Yeah. So it's like not legal if you think about it, but we can have an unwritten agreement of, look, I'll turn a blind eye to this defenseman you want to keep, but I need to be paid for it.
So that raises the question, like I was talking about, Matt. Who's the GM? Do they have one yet? It doesn't really matter. Can the Seattle GM call Ron Hextall and say, who do you want me to draft so that I can trade them for Sidney Crosby? And then he's making a trade based on players that are not.
That's what I'm saying. It's Ron Francis.
Okay, so Ron calls Ron and makes a trade basically without any people on his payroll. Whatever, we're beating a dead horse at this point, but I think that's crazy interesting.
We're beating that dead horse that was in the fairway.
Yes, exactly, yeah. This time is the real horse, though.
All right, let's get back to somewhat normalcy, okay? And the fact that Toronto blew a 5-goal lead, or a 5-1 lead, to lose to Ottawa.
All is right in the world. Ottawa was the worst team in hockey.
Things are starting to get back to normal.
That's exactly right. And not to pile on here, not to kick them while they're down, but John Tavares has 1 goal in the last 10 games, and he's getting paid $12 million. So yikes. Dude,
we talk about that all the time. That first line better start putting up points because they're getting 30% of that cap.
The other 2 are figuring it out right now, but he is
Marner
not.
for sure.
Not. Matthews, they're saying Matthews. We talked about it last week. They're saying Matthews is going to score 50 and 50 this year.
Yeah, in a 56-game season.
Yeah.
Talk about this one because you were surprised.
Yeah. So Alex Galchenyuk and Cedric Paquette on Saturday were traded from Ottawa to Carolina for Ryan Dzingel. That's kind of a blockbuster trade if you think about it, because Paquette and Dzingel are actual legit pieces. Paquette obviously was part of the Tampa Bay team that won the Cup last year. But then Galchenyuk immediately gets put on waivers. He never even left Ottawa. He stayed in Canada during this period. He's immediately put on waivers within 24 hours. He clears waivers, and he's traded again for Igor Korshkov and David Warsofsky. Korshkov seems like the real piece in there. Warsofsky is he's a journeyman. I think he's played like 55 games for 5 teams in 3 years or whatever. Or no, probably in like 7 years. But either way, Korshkov is the main piece in that deal. But that was just interesting to me because I've never seen a guy legitimate. Well, I guess I have seen it because I think I remember Martin Jones is the guy I'm thinking of, was a member of the Bruins for like a day. And also Jarome Iginla, when he came to Boston in 2013, No, 2011 was also no. It was 2013. Was also a. He was a Penguin for
Whatever
like a
it
day.
was.
He was like a Penguin for a day before he became a Bruin. So this has happened before, but I always think it's interesting because Galchenyuk was literally a almost a Panther, a Hurricane for 2 days before he was traded to Toronto, which is where he's at now. That's all I got. Any thoughts?
No.
All right.
I one thought. I thought it was weird how. What? I thought it was weird how Paquette. For some reason I thought he was still in Tampa, but and then the last thought I have is that Dzingel was traded from Ottawa to Columbus in that massive haul that Columbus tried to make to win the cup when they went all in.
Mm-hmm.
So Ottawa's getting Dzingel back, but they gave up 2 good players for him. So what those are my thoughts.
Yeah. I don't really. There's a lot going on at once, but I know you wanted to talk about this mess, so I'm going to let you bring it up. This is the next point. Go ahead.
In the script, I wrote weekly McDavid talk, LOLOL. Mainly because we talk about him every week, and I just think it's funny now because we might as well just do like a McDavid.
That is what weekly
segment.
Means. Go ahead.
Yeah. What? Anyway,
that is what weekly means. Yeah.
McDavid's at 499 points, and he could be the 20th player to score 500 points in under 400 games. If he scores tonight at 10 p.m., I don't know when we're releasing this, at some point tonight, he will be tied for 8th fastest to 500 points, and he'll tie Sidney Crosby. So same amount of games as Crosby, which is actually crazy.
Yeah.
369 games. Can you guess who's the fastest?
I bet you can.
It's Wayne
in the
Gretzky.
script, so yeah, I'm not gonna guess because it's right here. But now tell the people how many games it took him.
So 500 points. It took Gretzky 234 games.
Is that good?
That's like 2.2 points a game.
Well, is that good? Is that good?
That's all right. Yeah, it's only 3 seasons.
I mean, you hear about Gretzky. Points. You hear about Gretzky, people are like, hey, he's the greatest. He's the great one. And, like, you see numbers like that, and you're like, really? Is he actually? I guess.
No, what happens is when you see stats like that, you go, how could anyone ever think Tom Brady is the GOAT of any sport?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I want to talk about that, but we can do a segment next week about that. But anytime someone, and as hockey fans, you watch this podcast, right? And a lot of our listeners are Tom Brady fans. But if someone ever tries to start the argument of Brady is the GOAT of all sports, all you have to say is, how many NFL records does Brady hold? And is it anywhere close to 61? Because Gretzky has 61 NHL records. So
the answer is no, it's not.
Yeah, it's done. There it is. Debate over.
Yeah. You know how I feel about Brady slander, but I have to agree with you on this one.
Brady's the greatest football player of all time. I'm not denying.
Yeah,
but
there's no touching Gretzky.
No, not even close in any sport.
Gretzky is arguably, I think I've said this before, he is the best person at his job ever.
Yes.
I guess like Jesus Christ was probably better at his job, like being a missionary. But I mean, it's Jesus, and then like.
Yeah, but okay, wow. We need to start like a conspiracy theory podcast or something to talk about like religion and stuff. But that wasn't a professional job for him.
So
that was his calling.
So you're saying Gretzky's better than Jesus then? That's what you're saying.
At hockey, yes.
Jesus walked on water before anyone skated, so I don't know about that. I feel like he'd be okay in hockey.
Let me tell you something. If we're going shootout, Crosby or Gretzky or Jesus, I think Gretzky's probably minus 200 in Vegas to score.
Against Jesus, dude, they literally say Jesus saves. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, dude. That's a guy's catch.
What a rabbit hole we just dove down. But
let's get into our weekly NBC Sports Slander. Here are the power rankings. Tampa Bay Lightning are number 1. Here's the description. The defending champions have the league's best record by point percentage, even though they have not had Nikita Kucherov all season. They say that every week. Eventually, you're going to have to stop talking about that. But they're right. Right? I mean, they're not going to have Nikita Kucherov at all, so why even bring it up?
It's kind of like our weekly talking about every week McDavid.
Yeah.
You just have to bring it up. But it is crazy. Like, you have to consciously think about the fact that they're the best team in hockey and they don't have the Hart Trophy winner in Nikita Kucherov. So
yeah. Yep.
I mean, not reigning, but he is.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the Central Division is a joke. Moving on. Number 2, the Boston Bruins. The description says, right there with Tampa, even though the Bruins have spent most of the season on the road and played half their games without David Pastrnak. So they're just going to continue to say the same things about every team every week and not change their list. And I'm going to get mad. But the last thing they say is actually new, and it is a fact. The defense has been a pleasant surprise. And this is something that I wanted an excuse to bring up because I know we don't like when I talk about the Bruins on this podcast. But we lost, and when I say we, I mean the Bruins, like I am a part of them, and I don't know why I say that. The Bruins lost Torrey Krug and Zdeno Chara in the offseason, and somehow their decor actually got better. And I wanted to try to explain that, and I think the key is, Matt, Jakub Zboril and Kevin Miller. Those are the 2 new guys, basically, even though everyone is taking on a new role this year. But if you watch the Bruins, I'll leave it at this. Keep an eye on Kevin Miller and keep an eye on Jakub Zboril. They're the biggest difference makers on the ice, like if you think about Delta from last year. Delta like that.
Okay.
That's my 2 cents. What do you think? Good?
Yeah, I think 1 and 2 are correct. The Central Division is a joke, and the Bruins are playing lights out, and the fact that Pasta's back makes it even worse for everyone else in the East. So,
yep, I don't know how they got better, but they did.
Also, being a Caps fan and watching Chara, and the fact that he gives up the puck and creates a scoring chance at least twice a night for the other team, I can see how your decor is a little bit better. But Torrey Krug is a stud, so that's a little surprising. But the fact that 87-year-old Chara leaving Major D better is not surprising at all.
Yeah, and people don't trust Don Sweeney. Every time he makes a move like this, they're like, what has this guy done for us? The answer is he's done everything. Like every single move he's ever – some of the moves that he makes that people like do not go well, but the moves that he makes that people don't like in the public always work out. And when I say always, I mean literally always.
Well,
Chara and Krug go, and it's working out so far. Marcus Johansson and Charlie Coyle were the 2 pickups at the deadline during the Cup year in 2019, and everybody was saying he didn't do nearly enough, and those guys ended up being our 2 best players. So,
how long has Don Sweeney been there?
Well, so he started here in player development. First of all, he is like 3rd or 4th all time in games played for the Bruins, which is a crazy stat. But so he played here, and then he was in scouting and player development. I want to say he's been the GM like 7 years now. Is that could be? It's probably about that.
So,
6
is
years.
the
Maybe?
Tyler Seguin, Louis Eriksson trade?
No,
is that under the Don Sweeney umbrella? Because
nope.
Okay, because I was going to say absolutely no one liked that trade, and it didn't work out, and Tyler Seguin's a stud in Dallas. So
that is Peter Chiarelli. He's the bane of my existence. Pretty sure he's a scout now.
Louis Erickson, scouted Home Depot. Listen, Louis Erickson for Tyler Seguin and Philip, and shout out to Home Depot if you're watching, sponsor us. Louis Erickson for Tyler Seguin and Philip Forsberg for Marty Erat are the two single-handedly worst trades in NHL history. So,
yeah. What about Wayne Gretzky for cash? Because that is the thing that actually happened.
Yeah, that's true too.
Okay. All right, number 3,
That's
Vegas Golden Knights.
Mainly because Gretzky is as we've decided, Gretzky is above Jesus at some point. So
in some sort of category, he is.
Yeah.
Also, like that, you can't justify that as a salary dump because Gretzky immediately proved that he would have played for any amount of money. Either way, that's bad. I mean, that's the worst one. It's not even close. That and Babe Ruth in exchange for seed money to sponsor a Broadway play, which lasted like 3 months on Broadway. Those are the two things that are up there. The Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas net seems to belong to Marc-Andre Fleury again. That's pretty cool, huh?
Dude, he's like 9-1, and
we're big Marc-Andre Fleury fans here. So
he's like 9-1, and he has a like 94% save percentage. I mean, he's gonna win the Vezina if he stays on track.
That'd be amazing. And they have 2 starting goaltenders on that team, so it makes it all the more impressive because he's not beating out your average backup goalie.
Yeah, he's beating out a Vezina finalist.
Yeah. So that's number 3. Number 4. I don't know if this was written before or after they blew a 5-1 lead to possibly.
That had to be before. This was written Monday, so.
Okay, yeah, it was before. They look like the best team in the North. If they do not make an extended playoff run this season, you really have to start to wonder if it will ever happen. I like that description. Good job, guys, because that feels like what they should have been thinking since like 2012. But I mean, every year this team makes the playoffs and they do nothing with it. And they're right. This year, this is the best team I've seen them have, like in my entire career as a hockey fan. But if they don't win the cup this year, I don't know what they're going to do.
Yes, they blew a 5-1 lead, but they're still the best team in the North.
Yeah, they are.
So
North is it's not that good. For me, and honest, it's the most
okay with them.
It's the most exciting, but the North is not. I mean, the Canucks are kind of figuring things out. Edmonton is kind of figuring things out. I mean, there's teams that are bad and teams that are okay, and then there's Toronto and Montreal. You know what I mean?
I don't know. The Jets are only 1 point behind Montreal. The Oilers are only 2 points behind Montreal. So it's like I feel like it's Toronto and then everyone else. But like everyone else is within 5 points of each other, and then the Senators are like down here somewhere, and then the AHL champs, the winner of the Calder Cups, are up here above Ottawa. Yeah. So
it's like Moneyball. There's rich teams, there's poor teams, there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's us.
And then there's us. Yeah. Also, the Greenville Swamp Rabbits are up here somewhere above.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Ottawa too,
Don't get me started on that. We went and watched that game, and it was before Clemson Club Hockey lost 11-0, and I think
no, it was 1. McEwen.
I think that Georgia Tech team that beat us might have been better than the Swamp Rabbits, to be dead honest with you. That was it was one of the worst hockey. There was a goal from center ice, Matt. You remember that? Not to mention the posts are blue, which makes the game level go way down right off the bat.
And you also love that every time the Swamp Rabbits score, the PA announcer goes, he shoots, and then the crowd goes,
Oh,
he scored. And it's
yeah.
it's like 37 old women at the game. So
Ringing the bells, dude. And they walked right by us.
it was
Oh,
awesome.
that was such a terrible experience. It was
We're
fun.
going to a Swamp Rapids game this year. Anyway,
we have to.
at number 5, the ECHL team of this team. You like that transition?
Nice. Yeah. I don't know if
the
grammar
Carolina
was correct,
Hurricanes. They're 9-3-0.
Which is great, they say.
Yeah, because Teuvo Teravainen and Jacob Slavin have played like crap this year. So, which the article says this will not continue. Whatever.
Give a source on that, guys?
Yeah. Did you call them individually and say, hey, are you guys stepping it up?
Yeah.
I think the only change I would make is I would swap Carolina for Florida. They're tied in points, but I just think Florida's playing better hockey.
Yeah, I agree. I brought them up last week. I think they belong in here. I think they have an identical record, or they could be 9-2-1. But yeah, Florida is crazy good. Crazy good. They deserve more
Florida.
credit.
I think Florida's 9, or Carolina's now 10-3-0, and Florida's 9-2-2. So they have the same points. But Bobrovsky's, I think, 8-1 on the season. So yeah, Florida is for real.
Yeah, and Bobrovsky had a bad year last year, and everyone in that organization was saying he was going to step up this year, and he has so far. So.
Well, he has some goalie competition now with Spencer Knight being in the goalie room. So,
yeah,
who's the reason U.S. won the World Juniors? By the way,
that is correct.
All right, we got 2 games
him and
of
Trevor
the week.
Zegras, who, by the way, has not yet been called up, which I don't understand. He's playing in AHL, and by the way, he's killing it in the AHL right now. So I don't know what they're doing with him. And it's not like baseball. You don't really have to develop hockey players. Guys step in and they're unbelievable immediately. Look at Tim Stützle in Ottawa. He came from Team Germany, and he's playing great. He came directly from Team Germany. He's playing great. So literally, Trevor Zegras is a better version of Tim Stützle, and they're keeping him in the AHL. I don't know. I don't understand what's going on.
A great example of guys are ready when they're ready is Cale Makar losing in the national championship, and then the next day on a flight to Colorado to play in the playoffs, and he made a huge impact. So he had 2 points. When you know, you know. So,
and they should know. I know. You know, they don't.
2 games of the week. I'm going to introduce the first one. You take the second one. 2 Lake Tahoe games this week. We're so freaking excited.
This is cool. We're going to be in Myrtle Beach to watch this, by the way. Which is cool.
So Avalanche facing the Golden Knights, who essentially are the home team of this whole thing because it's in Nevada. They're playing right next to the lake. They're actually playing on a golf course, which I just found out. And the day of the game, McKinnon's going to attempt on the 17th hole. He's going to attempt a hole-in-one shot that Joe Sakic made in 2011, and which is also cool because Colorado Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time. If McKinnon makes it, which I believe he will.
Yeah, you believe he's going to make a hole-in-one.
NHL will donate $1 million to the Learn to Play program, which I think is pretty cool. I think they're going to donate money regardless.
I agree. I think it must be like some sort of rigged thing, because to ask a guy to try to hit a hole-in-one is it's like asking a guy around. It's like asking a guy to walk outside during a thunderstorm and be like, hey, if you get struck by lightning, we're going to do something really cool.
Yeah, and this is like with no pole sticking up. This is just
exactly.
We're going to record you, and if you get struck, we got $1 million waiting for you.
Yeah, and it's not even raining out either.
So I think if he greens it, they should donate a certain amount of money, because that's like a reasonable ask.
And he's a good player. I think he's a scratch golfer. I know he has a reputation for being one of the great players in the league, which hockey has a lot of good golfers. But so, I mean, if he makes a hole-in-one and it's like a legit hole-in-one, I mean, even if it's from 50 yards, that would still be ridiculously
even
impressive.
If he's chipping in.
Exactly. I mean, if it's a 40-foot putt and he hits it in one try for $1 million, that's unbelievable. But if he
So
makes like a
Avs,
150-yard hole in one, I think like you can't play the games because guys are going to be so excited and like flabbergasted, which is a word I have not used in like 5 years. Like they'll be too shocked they can't play after that because that would
Yeah.
be one of the most ridiculous feats in the history of human history.
he's making
Literally,
it. I'm telling you. I want to see the Vegas odds on that. It's probably plus 9,000.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't. It can't be as straightforward as they're saying because that is so dumb.
I'm telling
Either
you,
way,
if
it'll be
there's a
exciting.
stipulation to where if he hits a green in regulation, then they're giving money. I think.
Right.
Anyway, Avs Golden Knights Saturday 3 p.m. on NBC. It's usually Doc Emmerich's call, which
It'll probably be
either Kenny Albert or John Forslund.
Yeah. Hopefully it's Forslund. I don't know. I like Forslund.
But he's off doing Seattle things. So
yeah.
All right.
Good.
That's
we
the
need
game
him
on
ready.
Saturday.
We need him ready.
I got the Avs winning 4-1.
Nice. Okay. I got the Knights winning 3-2.
Okay.
In overtime. All right. 24 hours later, the Boston Bruins will face the Philadelphia Flyers Sunday at 3 p.m. also on NBC. There's no hole-in-one challenge. There's no anything. There's no gimmicks because those two teams just play hockey. They don't need, like pomp and circumstance to make it interesting. Interesting note about that game, which kind of makes me mad. One team will be wearing gold. The other team will be wearing orange, which means colorblind people can't watch. Right?
Fair enough.
It is what that means. So that's a problem, I would say. Because remember they had the ketchup and mustard game in the NFL. I think it was the Rams and the Jets or something. And they also had the Bills wearing red and some other team wearing green, and like colorblind people legitimately couldn't watch a game because they couldn't tell who was on what team. And there's a legitimate population of colorblind people in the United States and Canada. So also, you know this about me, and so do the listeners. I don't like clashing colors, so I'm not going to have fun watching a game where one team wears orange and the other team wears yellow.
So you're not watching it, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll probably just take a nap or something.
Yeah, in Myrtle.
Yeah.
By the way, we've been planning this Myrtle trip for months, and the fact that we plan this trip and we're going golfing and it's going to be a high of 43 on Saturday, we're a little pissed. But we're gonna have fun in it either way.
Yeah.
I got the Flyers winning 8-0. So.
Yeah, me too. All right, that's our show.
What's your prediction?
3-1. No, 5-2 Boston.
Okay, I got 8-0. Also, for our listeners, I'm sorry. My Wi-Fi has been horrible today. So when you listen to this or watch it on YouTube, I know a bunch of moments where either one of us or both of us freezes. So just bear with us.
Well, there was a lot of times in this episode where you sounded great, Matt, but I would speak and you would not answer for a long time. So that's probably most likely what you'll hear, or maybe you won't hear me at all. Hey, either way, you know what? We're going to deal with it.
I also think sometimes it's funny because since I'm recording, you would freeze, and then when it would catch up, you would talk really fast like this, and then like.
Oh, really?
So yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, if there's anything you didn't hear, if I cut out at any point, just know that I said one of the most interesting things that's ever been said.
Influential.
So that's unfortunate. That's going to be lost forever.
Life-changing stuff he was talking about.
Yeah. I actually solved most of the world's problems during the course of this episode. So hopefully you hear them. If you don't, then
it's lost forever. We're not recording this,
and I don't remember what they are either. I just had these moments. So
yeah, I mean, we don't have our fantasy update. We'll do that next week.
Chaos. That's the only thing that you need to know about. And actually, you mentioning that, I have not checked my fantasy league in probably over 2 weeks, so I'm probably getting killed right now. You know what?
I haven't set my team in 2 weeks.
This is a fun. Oh, I lost to Danny last week. All right, here's a fun reveal. I'm winning against you, so that's cool.
That sucks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. That's all we got.
That's all I got too.
All right. Well, we're gonna have fun in Myrtle. We'll post some pics on. And no, we won't. I mean, I'm gonna post on Snap, but if you're not friends with me on Snap, I don't know what to tell you.
Too bad.
Yeah. We'll see y'all next week.
All right. Peace.
Peace.